here to tell you that if you really want the truth, more voters are neither red or blue. Yet they have no representation, no choice, and no options. They have to choose between candidates chosen by the red people or the blue people. I'm David Esrati, and I'm running for Congress as an American, as in red, white, and blue. I'm a veteran, an activist, and a small businessman. I'm asking you to join me in reminding the professional politicians in Congress who their bosses are. I support ranked choice voting, campaign finance reform, and a verified voter information system, all so we can stop having the best politicians money can buy. It's time to elect a veteran who will work for you, no matter what color they want to label you. Please go to electesrati.com and learn more. I'm David Esrati, and I approve this message. In Jurassic Park, you thought those little baby dinosaurs were cute until they turned into out-of-control carnivores. That's sort of what happens to government when we elect people based on very expensive advertising campaigns and propaganda. I'm David Esrati. I'm a veteran and a small businessman running for Congress. You don't want professional ad people and pollsters to sway your vote. All those hot-button issues like gun control, abortion, borders are all politicized to stop you from voting rationally. And thinking rationally seems to be in short supply these days. Most Americans have been voting against their own best self-interest for a long time because we've allowed money to buy our leaders. 1 million Americans died in the last 2 years because our leaders couldn't lead. It wasn't that hard. Mask, distance, test, and then vaccinate. In an instant, we had billions to spend on healthcare for COVID, when for years we've been told we can't provide healthcare for everyone equally in this country. That's an unintended consequence of the pandemic. If you think about it, our government can pretty much do whatever it wants, or what the people who buy our politicians tell our leaders to do. We also had a ton of money to prop up businesses. The next thing you know, it turns out that a living wage was not only possible, but necessary. As a small businessman who won't sell you out to corporate interests and lobbyists, I can tell you that it's time to fully understand the consequences of companies like Amazon, Facebook, and Google and their effect on small business, and to remind you that small business is the #1 creator of jobs in this country. So this next election, don't trust this ad or any other political ad. Do your homework and think before you vote. It's time to put this ad man in Congress because I know that the best advertising is based on the truth, not the size of the budget or payola. Or you can just vote based on who has the money to buy their way into Congress and live with the consequences. I'm David Esrati, and I approve this message. Hi, I'm David Esrati. It is the day before Election Day. It's been a long year for me. This wasn't something I'd planned to do when I started out, and here I am, the Democratic nominee for Congress in OH-10, which is all of Montgomery County, Greene County, and parts of Clark. It has been a education, and this isn't the first time I've done this, but I just want to say I thank all of you that have tuned in at any of these for watching and for talking and for asking questions, for spreading the word and being involved. The most important thing any of you can do is vote. For me, for Mike Turner, for Nan Whaley, for Mike DeWine, for J.D. Vance, for Tim Ryan, but go out and vote. Because if you don't go out and vote, the alternative is letting someone else pick who your leadership will be. And I can assure you of this. There are people who think they know better than you do who should be running our country. Some of you might say I have no business in this position. Some of you say I'd be amazing. I'm just human. But for today, I want to talk about something that stuck with me since I went in the Army. I'm going to start out right at the beginning. Even though I served in my entire active duty time after training in Special Forces units, I did not complete the Q course. Okay? So, while I wore a green beret, I didn't have the flash, which was later replaced by the tab. Even though I served in a reserve Special Forces unit as a secondary commo man, I did not complete the Q course. I'm a paratrooper. I knew Morse code. I knew how to run a radio. I knew how to do land nav, all the other things. And it was hard work. I don't get scared easily because of that. That training that I had, that the government spent a lot of money training me, it taught me that I can do things and overcome fear. And fear is something that I feel is used way too much by politicians, especially in these days running up to the election. Every plea for money, or give me money, or that person's going to win. Now, trust me, it's not about the money. It's not about who's going to win. It's about what you do tomorrow. We are not running auctions still. We're running elections, even though the money is outrageous. And I've got that website that I put up, electionsnotauctions.com. You can go there and look and see some of the disparities. But that's not it either. There are no perfect candidates. There are no people that you will agree with 100%. I don't agree with anybody 100%. I don't even know if I agree with some of these people 90, 80, 70%. I don't know if I like them. I don't know if I dislike them. What I do know is some of those people have been in office for an awful long time and seem to believe they're entitled to stay there forever. And they do things to make sure that's going to happen. I think it's a shame that we have so many senior citizens running this country. I don't have a problem with them per se because of their age. I love Bernie Sanders. I think he's awesome. But honestly, we need younger voices. And they don't have to be angry younger voices. They just have to be people who understand what government is supposed to do. Government is supposed to make it better for all of us. More equitable, more just, more fair. Make our lives easier instead of more complicated. Make it feel safe instead of afraid. I see ads that just make my stomach turn, churned out by these politicians. There's one I just saw over the weekend about how Nan Whaley defunded the police and voted to get rid of defund the Dayton Police Academy by Mike DeWine. And he's surrounded by people in uniform who are supposedly police officers who have no business in a political ad. I don't care if they're playing dress up, but it looked wrong to me. I don't respect either one of those two candidates. But Mike DeWine decided that anybody and their mother should be able to carry a concealed weapon without any training. And to me, that makes me more fearful. I can do without Mike DeWine. I'll vote for Nan Whaley. I don't like Nan Whaley. In fact, I despise Nan Whaley. But until we have a system that allows us to rank multiple choices and we don't have to filter things through primaries and play all these games over and over, I'm stuck with a choice between two people that I don't like, but I know that Nan Whaley will not allow anybody and their mother to carry a concealed weapon all the time without any kind of training or background checks or anything. This is just simple. And if we're having problems with internet, so help me, I'm going to be really ticked off at somebody that I thought had fixed this. Please bear with me. So I've seen commercials that say, and videos and posts, that the end of the world is coming if we don't vote Democrat, or, oh my God, we'll be taxed out of, and inflation will go wild if we vote for anybody but the Republicans. And that's not true on either side. What we have is a dysfunctional system that expects somehow our votes to matter in a way that I don't know if they can anymore. Because the real truth is, money has taken over our country in all shapes and forms. And the rich are getting richer and the rest of us are just struggling to get by. But going back to when I enlisted, I had a mentor. At the time, he was a Marine Corps major on recruiting duty in Cleveland. He was also a hockey coach. And I worked with him, and he was the one that swore me in to the Army. He handed me a 8.5 by 11 frame, cheap dollar frame. And in it was a photocopy of a speech. It was a speech by Teddy Roosevelt from 1910. It's called The Man in the Arena. And I'm going to read it. And I want you to listen to these words and think about what it takes for somebody to go up against millions of dollars and all kinds of people telling him what he shouldn't do, what the right choices are, and what you're doing wrong, and how you're somehow screwing up all the time. Because that's basically what it feels like to run for office, unless you're guaranteed to get reelected and you have the backing of 27 billionaires. Here it comes. This was from after Teddy was out of office. This was in 1910. It's called The Man in the Arena. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best knows, in the end, the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. I've given this everything I can with what I have, and done what I can to give you an option to represent you in a different way than what has been done in the past 20 years. To tell you that I will make a commitment to meet with you every single day I'm in Congress, to share with you what I had to deal with, and ask for your guidance and your input like I ask for right now. And I'm sorry it says it's buffering again, Jennifer. I am totally frustrated by this, and I'm going to give somebody a piece of my mind. And Tam, thanks again for your enthusiasm. But again, I am doing everything I can to do this nobly, without begging, without panhandling, and to prove that I will do the best I can to represent you, the people of Montgomery County, Greene County, and parts of Clark. I've met quite a few of you. I've tried to send a message that I will be there to hear you, to listen to you, and to speak for you as best I can. I'm not interested in making sure that my billionaire funders are happy. I'm not interested in my defense contractors' backers making sure they make lots of money. I'm not worried about Wall Street. I'm worried about you. I'm worried that you shouldn't have to fear what happens if you get a life-threatening disease like cancer, or you get stricken with diabetes, and you have to figure out how to afford medical and health care. Because the people in Congress have comprehensive health care, and you should too. Okay? That part, no question. And that health care, that should be a choice between you and your doctor and nobody else. I have no problems voting to get rid of the entire health insurance industry tomorrow and spending trillions of dollars to eliminate them, to eliminate the paperwork, to offer direct care and retrain those people to make them home health aides to neurosurgeons. I don't care. But the profession of taking a VIG to promise protection against bankruptcy and to get health care is morally bankrupt, and it needs to go. One of the first things I will try to do is tell the people in Congress that they're not getting health care anymore until they get it for everybody. This isn't a joke. This is how it should be. Because if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for you and me. I also sincerely believe that it's time to take the money out of politics. I'm going to briefly say that Bill Mavar says, I do love that quote. And it's true in most any endeavor. Just like the Republicans who try to chip away at Biden have no solutions themselves. Anyway, thank you. And Darby says, no buffering on Facebook. Well, that's good to hear. Thank you, Darby. We seem to be through it now on YouTube. So, again, this whole thing about buying off our politicians needs to stop. If it's going to cost $16.7 billion to give you a choice between two people, let's just hold an auction and take the money and donate it to charity. This is insane. One thing has grown faster than anything else in the 20 years Mike Turner has been in office, and that's the number of billionaires. In the United States, we've gone from roughly 300 to, I now am stand corrected, not 619, but closer to 800 in this country. Again, you can watch my Monopoly spot and understand that once a small group of people has all the money and all the property, the game's over. You can't play it anymore. And that's the problem, and the Federal Reserve doesn't get it. So, the woman's right to choose is a woman's right to choose. Healthcare is a right for everybody. It says that on my literature, and I am dead set serious on that. I mean, even the idea that a few large businesses somehow can sway the fortunes of so many small businesses has to be addressed. When Google changes their algorithm, or Facebook changes their advertising rates, or Amazon charges more for placement of their product in their stores and tells you have to pay this much in order to be on their site, is absolutely out of control. Antitrust is something Teddy Roosevelt dealt with, and we shouldn't be dealing with it again. I see we're having buffering issues again. I'm going to be making a call as soon as I get off. But here's the thing. Tomorrow, you need to vote. If you haven't voted, you need to vote. Even if you have voted or you did vote, you need to make sure your friends vote. There is no crazy consortium. It's just a matter of how many people care. And it's not about the price of gas It's not about the price of Thanksgiving dinner. It's not about immigration at the border. These are things that people are using to scare you and to try to turn you around. It's about, will you feel represented by the people you elect? Will they speak up for you, or are they working for somebody else? Because honestly, that we're spending $16.7 billion on elections should be enough to make all of us sick. I see Tam says she loves that idea. If we don't get all get health care, no one does. Thanks, Tam. And Sham, welcome here. I'm glad Facebook isn't buffering. We're going to have to figure out what's going on with YouTube, but I'm bewildered. I appreciate all of you who are tuning in. I will not be on tomorrow. Tomorrow I will be working, and then come 7:30 I'm going to go and start picking up my large yard signs all over the community, and by Wednesday end of the day I should have all of them. If you see a sign after Wednesday night, you let me know. The chances of me winning are very slim. So I don't expect to have a victory party, and I don't think those are really appropriate weekend at my house. So you guys can come, have some of my amazing my dog and hang out. Told a lie. I've done what I can. Country.